Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari arrives in South Africa on a state visit. It's a 3-day state visit in which he will meet President Cyril Ramaphosa. He is set to meet President Ramaphosa tomorrow. And just to give you a sense of what they'll be talking about, they'll be discussing bolstering trade ties and political cooperation as both countries struggle to kickstart their stuttering economies. South Africa has experienced quite a great decline in GDP, and of course Nigeria as another of the continent's bellwether continents also looking to bolster growth. Just also looking at part of the visit, you would know top of mind for many people that the two presidents will discuss the issue of attacks on foreigners, some of whom have been Nigerians, and you can see there the picture of Nigerian Air Force plane there. The cabin door has just been opened, and any moment the stairs will be let out and President Buhari will emerge. Now, let's tell you also about a town hall meeting which is set to take place. I believe that President Muhammadu Buhari will be holding a town hall meeting with Nigerians living in South Africa to talk about what their experiences have been. Now, let's talk about that visit now with Bola Babarinde. He is the governing APC's parties in Nigeria, the Southern African representative. A very good evening to you, Mr. Babarinde, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. Good evening. Nice joining you again today.
Yes, so as we can see, the President aircraft, the Air Force plane has just touched down. We're expecting to see pictures of President Buhari in just a moment. What is your sense of the tone of this visit?
Yeah, we should put behind ourselves the crisis that engulf South Africa about nationality, xenophobic and all this stuff. The two nations, they already resolved that. There was an envoy sent to Nigeria, an envoy also sent from Nigeria here. And that one is, by the way, is gone. What the president comes for now is to make sure that the relationship between the two countries is in good order, and that what is the next move? The next move is how the two giant economies in Africa to be one. You know, once we can cement that relationship, the two countries, when they can be, once they are together, Africa will not be in crisis. Africa will move forward. What I expect from tomorrow, you know, when the president will meet one another, is to discuss economy, to discuss how to improve the life of the citizens of both countries, how we will live together in peace, how Africa will move forward. When you listen to President Buhari at UN General Assembly, he was talking about Africa. A few occasions he mentioned Nigeria. He was talking about Africa, Africa. That shows that it's not only for Nigeria, it's actually for Africa. And what he's going to discuss from tomorrow with the President of South Africa is how are we going to grow our economy? How are we going to improve the life of our citizens? The issue of infighting between the citizens, you know, that one is, by the way, is gone. It's a matter of, it's a past tense.
So basically they'll be talking about logistics, improving the relations rather than harping on the past, what has happened.
Yes, definitely it's going to talk about the past, how such incident will not
be avoided
again. But that's not going to be the main issue. The main issue, how the citizens of both nations will have improved welfare.
Just with regards to the area of trade, any specific areas or sectors?
Sure. We are oil producing nation. Definitely, South Africa is not producing oil. There should be a way how South Africa will benefit from oil resources. And South Africa has some in mining. We have a lot of resources. We have a lot of untapped resources in Nigeria, which I believe with technological capacity of South Africa, it can be of help, you know, in mining some of these products. And it's better for us because it's an African nation. We are one. Definitely, in terms of also technology, South Africa is a little bit ahead because of the system of governance and the whites that were here before the present government. They have laid a solid foundation for South Africa to move on, and we are going to tap into that as well. In terms of manufacturing, you know, hardly we don't have any of this manufacturing, automobile industry that is not either assembly or manufacturing in South Africa. We can also tap into that, you know. And South Africa as well, we have a lot of resources, you know, like from Nigeria, the cocoa is there, we have granola, we have so many cash crops that South Africa can also import from Nigeria. You know, it's going to be win-win situation if South Africa and Nigeria can be.
So let's talk about strengthening public-private partnerships. Obviously, there are quite a number of South African companies that are in Nigeria as well, looking at expansion. And we know that there are some businesses as well, Nigerian businesses in South Africa. How do you foresee that relationship moving forward?
Sure, it's good to move forward, you know, because look at when MTN started. MTN started with just about $280 million, and today MTN worth more than $2-3 billion, you know. So there's expansion always, and other companies are there. And for example, in housing, like my company with other partners, we are going to Nigeria on housing, you know, which is going to be mainly for the civil servants. And because when you look at the housing in Nigeria, and even in Africa, most of the civil servants cannot afford the basic housing because it's expensive when you go into the mortgage and all this stuff. But with the technology, the affordable housing that we are taking from Nigeria, from South Africa to Nigeria, most of the civil servants will be able to, you know, afford. Definitely there's going to be expansion, because if there is good relationship between the two nations, there will be the ease of doing business will be there, which Nigeria is already doing, you know. South Africa definitely is going to benefit.
And to our viewers at home, what you're seeing there, visuals of the Nigerian Air Force plane as it's landed with the first citizen of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, who is in South Africa on a 3-day state visit. Official talks begin tomorrow with President Cyril Ramaphosa, and as you can see, all the ground staff there at the airport, including diplomatic staff, awaiting the emergence of President Buhari from the plane. He begins meeting President Cyril Ramaphosa tomorrow. And we're in conversation now with the governing APC party in Nigeria, South African representative Bola Babarinde, who is talking to us about the expectations of the talk. So we're saying that this is going to be literally a binational of varied discussions, and there's going to be a joint communique signed out of it. What should we expect? And there he is, President Buhari is emerging from the plane there. So I'd imagine also that a lot of Nigerians feeling very hopeful with the state visit going ahead. There were rumors, some would say malicious rumors, suggesting that he would not come to South Africa. He is being greeted there by South Africa's International Relations Minister, Dr. Naledi Pandor.
Yeah, initially, a lot of people are saying that the president is not supposed to be in South Africa now because of the incident that happened. You know, you don't fight forever. You don't. You know, peace is gold. You know, so, and moreover, this visit has been, you know, fixed before the incident. And yes, for the two nations to send envoy to one another shows that there's a mutual respect. That respect is being reciprocated by our president coming to South Africa, you know, because there's reward in peace. There's too much reward in being together and respect one another. So it's coming. It's definitely, after he meets the president tomorrow, he's going to meet us. We are going to be with him, you know, to discuss more about this. I'm so elated. I'm so happy that he's here. at least is going to talk to us one-on-one because we are here. Because there's some false information on social media that we personally we've been denouncing that is not as bad as it's being claimed on the social media. One-on-one we are going to discuss with him, and we are going to even tell him first-hand information. They may have some information, but we will tell him the first-hand information how we can move forward.
From a practical perspective, what would be your expectations of President Buhari? You're obviously going to look to him for leadership in improving the lot of Nigerian nationals living here in South Africa, but we've also seen some Nigerian nationals saying that they would like to go back home, that they believe that the reasons for being in South Africa here have expired and they would like to go back home, seek better opportunities.
Sure. You see, the current APC government actually encourages people in diaspora to come back home, to come and help with the wealth of experience they've gathered outside the country. And the way it is now, there is a lot of opportunities for people outside the country, which we know. You cannot be outside forever. Even if you married, you have houses, you have everything, you can't be outside forever. Some may decide not to go back home, but those ones that want to go back home, I'm sure, and the government has assured them when they come, whatever they need to stand on their feet. And for information, for few people that have gone back home, we have heard that some of them are already, establishing something home. Apart from people coming from outside, that is the aim of this government is to make sure that the cottage industry, the small industry, is encouraged. Public-private partnership for big business is also encouraged.
I mean, for some of those that did go back, some were sent back because of not having proper papers. So that's obviously something that has to be dealt with, whether it's Nigerian nationals or any other nationals, foreign nationals living in South Africa, and vice versa, those who would like to stay or those who would like to go. So what can Nigeria do in this regard?
You see, there's nothing Nigeria can do about its national in another country without permit. It's the nation, South Africa, or Ghana, wherever you go, to take charge of that. We cannot tell South Africa how to, administer, how to, take charge of their country.
Now, I'm talking about Nigerian nationals who went to Nigeria and were sent back from Nigeria. So obviously there's a problem there.
Who sent them back? Because most of the people that went home, they went voluntarily. Nobody forced them to go. Because we've been having some issues of repatriation. Some people that doesn't have paper, maybe they're on asylum and the asylum expire, they send them to Lendela and they go back home. But in the recent time, these people that went to Nigeria, they went voluntarily. Some are tired, some are ready to go. Few may not have the means to go back home, But those ones that left recently are not forced back home. They went on their own.
Yes, so you're denying that those who did leave voluntarily, that there were some who were sent back from Nigeria?
No, I never heard that.
Okay, so there are reports suggesting that of a number of 200 people who went there. So, but the important point that I'm dealing with here is regulation. Migration is a very serious problem for the African continent, whether from here or... So governments have to have a system in place for the adequate handling of that.
Yeah, I never heard a single Nigerian been sent back home. 100%, all Nigerians that went back home voluntarily, and none of them has been sent back by South Africa, and none of them have been sent back from Nigeria. It is not possible.
Okay, so you're denying those
Yeah, I'm denying that. Yeah.
All right. All right, thank you very much for joining us. And of course, we will catch up with you at a later stage. Post President Muhammadu Buhari's visit, 3-day state visit to South Africa. You did see visuals of his arrival, him being greeted by South Africa's International Relations and Cooperation Minister, Dr. Naledi Pandor. We're speaking now to the APC's governing party in Nigeria, South African representative Bola Babarinde. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go away.